What if one of the greatest empires in human history never actually fell? What if it simply changed its language, its religion, and even its name while quietly surviving for over 2,500 years? This isn't just a story about Persia. It's the story of how a civilization can be conquered again and again and still refuse to disappear. Before we begin, subscribe and tell me in the comments which ancient empire you want to uncover next. Now, let's travel back to where it all began. Long before the world knew the name, Persia, the land we call today Iran, was a vast plateau of mountains and deserts. It was not empty. It was alive with tribes. Around 2000 BC, Indo-Iranian peoples migrated into this region. They spoke early Indo-European languages, distant cousins of Latin and Greek, not Arabic, which would only arrive many centuries later. Two groups slowly rose above the rest: the Medes, powerful and organized. The Persians settled in a southern region called Parsa. At first, the Persians were not the dominant force. The Medes controlled much of the political power, but history often turns on one person, and in the 6th century BC, that person appeared. His name was Cyrus the Great. When he overthrew the Medes, he did something radical for his time. He didn't destroy them. Instead, he unified them. He founded the Achaemenid Empire, and it would become unlike any empire the world had seen. Most ancient conquerors ruled through terror. Cyrus ruled through accommodation. When he captured Babylon, he allowed displaced peoples to return home. Among them were the Jewish exiles, who later remembered him not as a tyrant, but as a liberator. Rather than forcing one religion, he supported local traditions. Rather than imposing one language, he governed through local administrators. This was not weakness, it was strategy. Under later kings like Darius I, the empire stretched from the Indus River to the Mediterranean, from Egypt to Central Asia. Road systems connected thousands of miles. Royal couriers could cross continents in days. Taxes were standardized, provinces were organized with precision. For the first time in history, a true multinational superpower existed. But every empire has a breaking point, and this one came from the west. In 334 BC, a 20-something Macedonian king crossed into Asia. His name, Alexander the Great. Battle after battle, Granicus, Ishus, Gaugamela, the Persian forces were defeated. The Achaemenid system, which had ruled for over 2 centuries, collapsed. But something unexpected happened. Alexander didn't try to erase Persia. He adopted its court rituals. He wore Persian dress. He married into Persian nobility. He ruled from Persian capitals. His own generals hated it. To many Greeks, it felt like betrayal. But Alexander understood something essential. Conquering land is easy. Governing it is not. When he died at just 32 years old, his empire shattered. His generals divided the territory, and Greek-speaking rulers governed much of the region. Yet Persia did not disappear. It waited. Over the next centuries, the land passed through new dynasties: the Parthians, the Sasanians. The Sasanian Empire would once again challenge Rome and later Byzantium for dominance. Zoroastrian fire temples rose across the land. Persian art, law, and administration flourished again. But in the 7th century, a new force exploded out of Arabia. Arab armies defeated the Sasanians, and the political structure of ancient Persia collapsed. Arabic became the language of administration and religion. Islam replaced Zoroastrianism as the dominant faith, and yet Persian culture survived. The language adapted rather than vanished. Persian poets wrote in a newly enriched vocabulary. Scholars contributed to science, medicine, mathematics, conquered politically, but not erased culturally, and then came another transformation. Their decision changed everything. They declared Twelver Shia Islam the official religion. Until then, most of the region had been Sunni. This shift created a distinct identity that separated the land from much of the surrounding Islamic world. Under Safavid rule, architecture flourished in cities like Isfahan. Art, poetry, and philosophy entered a new golden age. Persian identity was reborn, this time deeply intertwined with Shia Islam, and with this revival, an ancient name quietly resurfaced, Iran, derived from Aryanum, meaning land of the Aryans. It had always existed internally, but to the outside world, the country was still known by another name, Persia. That would change in the 20th century. In 1935, the ruler Reza Shah made a symbolic decision. He asked foreign governments to officially refer to his country as Iran. Why? Partly modernization, partly nationalism, partly image control. Persia carried romantic and exotic associations in the West: carpets, poetry, ancient splendor. But it also carried stereotypes shaped by centuries of European narratives. Iran, by contrast, was the nation's own historical name. It was a declaration of sovereignty. Not everyone agreed with the change. Some intellectuals feared losing connection to a glorious past. But the shift held. And then came 1979. The Islamic Revolution overthrew the monarchy and established the Islamic Republic of Iran. From that point forward, global perception transformed again. To some, Iran became associated with revolution, geopolitics, and tension. Meanwhile, Persia began to sound like something ancient, poetic, almost mythical. Two names, one civilization. Here's the truth. Persia did not vanish. It evolved. It survived conquest by adaptation. It absorbed foreign influences without losing itself. It changed religion, language, and rulers, yet maintained a continuous cultural identity stretching back millennia. Few civilizations can claim that. So the next time you hear the word Iran, remember, you are not hearing the name of a modern country alone, of imperial roads crossing deserts, of fire temples and mosques, of poets and conquerors, an empire that refused to die. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe for more untold history and tell me in the comments which civilization we should uncover next. See you in the next episode.